Nonie Buencamino is a familiar name and familiar face to many who have watched him portray different characters in films, in television, and in theater. But of all those roles, none is perhaps as challenging as a real-life father coming to terms with the death of a child, as a casualty to depression. We sat down with him and his wife Charmaine to gather their thoughts as they share their story in his Dad Brotherhood special presentation. Well, first of all, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
For,
Yeah.
in this edition of Dad Brotherhood.
Thank you.
We're very thankful, and at the same time, we just really appreciate that you're giving us your this time to to discuss some things with regard to the theme for this month, which is mental health awareness. But before we get into that, I'm sure people there are very familiar with you, and maybe from your own words, would you like to describe yourself as as the actor that they know you to be, and then again also the husband that probably they're not too familiar with, and then as a dad?
I'm a very remiss husband, but because we both work a lot. But well, it has just recently been our 28th year anniversary, wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
So last May 28th, we were married May 28th. Her birthday is February 28th, and me November 28th. So 28 is a very significant number for us. Anyway, so when we celebrated, we made a resolution to, I don't know if we will succeed. And I don't know in what span of time, no? So we agreed 28 dates after that. Yeah. So we've had our first, but my wife says that that's not qualified. So meron palang ganon. Meron pala siyang criteria kung ano yung
Kung ano yung
date na kasama dun sa 28 dates. Oh. Pero okay lang. So as a husband, I like to give my services. I'm the doer. I do the chores when I am asked to, when I can. Yan. Yun. And of course, this relationship between us is more of like a team in terms of taking turns in fulfilling our duties or things that we need to do for the home and for the family. Specifically, for example, let's say when we have to, she has to be out working and I have to be staying home, then I am the husband. And then on other occasions, she's the housewife. So we kind of take turns and share in the responsibilities. So duties are not very specific and exact and constant. Pero basically, meron kaming mga roles that we play. Yeah. As a father, I am also more of the type. I'm actually an actor in the sense that I act. In other words, I do things for people. So in other words, I feel like I take joy in performing duties for others and other people that I love. And, Dad, can you drive me to this place? Then I'll drive you. Dad, can you ganito, ganyan? Okay, can you buy me this? Okay, let's go. Can you help me choose a dress or ganyan? Mom's not home. So, okay, so I'll do it. Basically, I'm the driver. I also like to go to the market. I also like to go to the grocery, which my wife also does when I am not able to do so. But I guess that's something that I enjoy doing. So domestic things I like to do. chores. I perform these chores. No?
Seems to be a very consistent theme with the way you describe yourself as both husband and man. It seems like that underlying expression of how you love them, your family, is to really
Yeah.
acts of service, acts of service.
One thing I'm not probably is I'm not much of a disciplinarian. I don't like going into lengthy discussions or lectures with my family members. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a lazy thinker. No, but I'm not of the verbal type now who will philosophize and rationalize and be a lawyer and But I do things in terms of actions. Yeah.
Because you're being part of the entertainment industry, I'm
Mhm.
sure it brings a lot of a different dynamic from the regular person outside. What are the challenges, at the same time the milestones
Mm-mm.
of being an actor, and then
Mm.
also as in combining that with being a father?
Let's say challenges of a family man being in showbiz, for example. The challenge is how do you keep your privacy and attention towards your family members when you're in public. Before I thought, wala yan. Di syempre. But medyo it matters pala somehow. In terms of, let's say, like you want to enjoy with your family in the mall and you get stopped for picture taking and ganun, ganyan. But we've survived. We've done it. And then they've gotten used to it. And even sometimes my children would say, ako na nga kukuha ng picture ninyo. Ako kukuha and they take picture. So, what takes normally 20 minutes to do in the mall and to go shopping, it takes 45 minutes. So, you get stopped. So, mainly yung privacy mo. Number one major challenge is the time that you spend with your family. Sometimes you are especially sa TV and film, kung minsan pag hectic ang schedule, you work, let's say, until about 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. Although that's not done anymore now. I'm quite thankful to ABS-CBN for that because meron ng 2 a.m. cut-off. So we stop working at 2 a.m. Pero dati talagang they could go on and on, no? And you get really tired for the next day, and then you have to rest, and then when you lack sleep and you're tired and you've been acting, let's say, dramatic scenes the day before, and you've done 5 of them or 7 of those very hard scenes, you get really tired and wasted the next day. So the challenge is how are you able to listen to your children? How are you able to read stories to them? How are you able to read to them while they're asleep, to put them to sleep the next evening when you lack sleep? And it has become a joke at some point. I remember very well when my daughter Julia would, when she was a small girl, she would really make fun of me, as in I am reading a story and I fall asleep or fall into the state of subconscious state, and then I start blabbering words, different words, while reading the story. And then I just wake up because I hear her laughing. So she knew sometimes that I would be really very tired, but insist that I read the story to her. Because gusto niya ma-experience yung pagbablabber ko. Sometimes kasi may inuutang ako dun sa uncle ko na, kasi he was a manager of the bank. And then I needed to loan the car. His name is Tito Hill. And something, one day, Little Red Riding Hood, for example, went to Tito Hill. Kasi nakatulog ako. So, tawa na siya gano'n doon. So, mga ganong moments, that is a difficulty. To perform, to be consistent in terms of your physical, yung body awareness mo, tsaka yung, you get really tired and sleepy. Sometimes to pay attention is difficult. But then I guess it's also a challenge of the modern man in terms of other careers. Yun na lang yung justification ko. Limbawa, yung OFW na matagal na nawala. O yung driver na pagod na pagod, tapos pag uwi, hindi na makaano sa bata dahil pagod na. So, it might be like other, but iba yung sa actor kasi merong playing roles, playing characters. It's emotional, psychological, and stuff. So, the task was, as we were a growing family, was to be able to isolate or remember who you are or remember to be who you are at that particular time when you are at home and compartmentalize na when you're home, ito lang, pamilya. Wag mo na mag-isip ng role, wag mo na mag-isip ng character. It's a challenge. That's a challenge. But if we are able to succeed, then I remember wonderful times with the family, going on vacation and doing stuff, yung nasa bahay ka, na we were able to relate to them well. Ayun.
So I heard you say earlier, is it correct to assume that when you get to do that, those are part of the milestones of what you do in combination with fatherhood. Let's say, for example, nahirap kang magbasa sa kanya sa gabi.
Yeah, that's a very memorable. That's really funny. Yeah, because hanggang lumaki na siya noon bago siya papamamatay, lagi niyang naaalala yun at pinapaalala sa akin. And then she would always wait for that moment. And what happened? And yung ginaganyan na talaga ako para umabot ako dun sa point na yon na katulog-tulog ako. Tapos, yan. Tsaka lang, yung nakapikit na ako, pero kunyari nagbabasa ako. Yung ganun. So yeah, these are nice a milestone in yung memorable moments with her. So, and with the children. Not only her, even the boys, when they were kids, lahat naman yan dumaan sa ganun, sa pagkaantok at minabasahan sila, tapos ganyan-ganyan ka. So, or the challenge maybe one challenge is, let's say, you're so tired from work. I also was an assistant director like Charmaine before, but Charmaine was more of really full-time assistant director. For a moment, for a time in our lives, she was parang pinaka-breadwinner siya noon. Kasi regular yung trabaho niya. Pero what takes being an assistant director, what it takes from you is that you really get so exhausted. It makes you rethink so much to how to solve problems during the shoot. Pag next day na, you're really staring into space. So sometimes your child is talking to you and, Di ba? Parang nalimpungatan ka. But again, yeah, maybe there's some guilt to some extent, but that's our career and that's our job, no? And ang justification ko dyan, each and every professional has that moment, no? And that, so I wouldn't say we are extraordinary in that sense, yeah.
Now we're also joined by Ms. Buencamino to talk about the family's experience about depression as it ran in the family. Thank you for joining us now. We just want to start with, it's been 3 years since the passing of...
almost 3 years,
almost
July
3 years.
7.
All right. Since the passing of Julio, would you mind recounting the events of the time? Because it was out also in the news outlets. You guys said that it was due to a bout of depression.
July 7, we were both, Charmaine was rehearsing and I was shooting for a film in Batangas. And I had left my phone in in my bag, and I had been shooting and shooting all day in the evening. And late in the evening, maybe around 8 o'clock or 9, I received so many text messages from Javi, our neighbor, and my siblings, Julia's siblings, about Julia, and I couldn't really understand. She said that she's almost gone, and then that that they injected something in her chest. In other words, I didn't know exactly what was happening. And then Javi was telling me, I'm very sorry, we're praying for Julia. So I was freaking out what happened, and then I couldn't really understand. And I think that at the same time, Charmaine would tell her experience, but she was in her seat during the time they were trying to get in touch with her. I was in Tagaytay, and I was really out of it, and then we were trying to find out what exactly happened. And then I finally was able to get it out of my eldest daughter, who I was talking to over the phone, that she had hanged herself. She was found hanging. And so I really could not imagine where that would come from. I was really blindsided because there was really nothing at that time that I could really pinpoint as to the cause of that. In fact, we were thinking that she was just playing around or playing, and then it was an accident. And then she was playing, then she actually got into an accident and hanged herself by accident. So we did not really have an idea what was going on. And then they were able to get in touch with Charmaine also. And so she was there. Julia was brought to the emergency room in Cardinal Santos, and then she had already passed away, and then they were just trying to revive her. And so we met there, and I was able to get there before midnight, I think. Still having no idea. In fact, when I got there and I saw Charmaine with Julia, and I said, nag-away ba kayo? Niya, wala. Hindi sila naman lang nag-away. They were just chatting in that afternoon of that day, and as if it was such a normal day, and she was asking her what her plans were. She had come from taping the day before, and then on that particular day, she woke up at 2 p.m. because she got home at 8 a.m. from all-night taping until 8 a.m. For a show. So puyat siya, wala siyang tulog. And then 2 p.m. I think she was up by 2 p.m. and that's when they met, and then they chatted.
Yeah. I told her to have lunch because I was leaving for rehearsals, and then I remember distinctly that was the last time I saw her alive. She was lying on the sofa and she was asking me what time I will be back. And so I went to rehearsals, and same thing with Nonie, phone call, and but before I went to rehearsals, I had this urge, which I did not follow, I was thinking of bringing her with me to rehearsals because the next day was her day to go to school. She's homeschooling.
First day.
Dun sa
Christian, Catholic, Filipino Academy.
Yes.
First day nga.
Hindi, third week na ng school kasi
Pero
that was July. So parang pang third Wednesday ngayon.
Third session.
Oo. Every ano lang kasi.
Wednesday.
So I was telling her to study, and at the back of my mind I was thinking maybe I should bring her along so that she'll study. So that I can see her. But anyway, I was on my way out na, so it was not feasible. So anyway, so studying and ganyan. So she asked me what time we're coming back, around 10. I left, and then I had this phone call they asked me, they stopped rehearsals and asked me to step out, and they said that my children have been trying to reach me, but my phone was in my bag. So anyway, I talked to Jose, the youngest boy, because he was the one who brought. First I talked to the eldest daughter, to Delphine. She said, I'm on my way there too, but Jose was the one who brought her. So I called Jose and I said, Jose, what happened? And kasi nagka-accident na si Julia noon eh, nahulog siya sa pool. But anyway, it was an accident in the pool, so I thought it was the same thing. And Jose said she hanged herself. And I couldn't understand what Jose was saying. What? I couldn't hear. Parang somehow, I don't know, your brain stops processing horrible information. He had to repeat it 3 times before I could understand. And a fellow actor volunteered to bring me to the hospital because I was already freaking out. And I remember on my way there, I was asking, I kept repeating the same 3 questions. I was asking, why Julia? What have I done? And why God? Why? And when I got there, my 3 children were there, and the people at the counter, at the ER, was asking me if she had tried to do this before, and I said no. And it was really unbelievable. Like, why?
Talagang wala sa imagination namin kasi
was there something wrong? What happened? Why did she take her life? Why? At that point when I got there, I was still really hoping, not hoping, but I didn't even acknowledge the thought that she might die. As far as I'm concerned, she was in the ER, she was okay. They were trying their best to revive her, to do something. Kasi nandun pa siya eh. And then the doctor called me and said that we've tried to defib her 3 times, and the only reason why she's breathing irregularly or there's a heartbeat is because of the chemicals that they've pumped into her body. But she's gone. And so I said, can I be with her? And they allowed me, and she was still very warm. There were still irregular heartbeats, and they were manually pumping her breathing, but the tips of her fingers were already blue, and the tips of her ears and her lips. So I was able to tell her to go, to say goodbye, I love you, and we said goodbye to her. And then it was only the next day, because we were really shocked, and we went through her stuff, my daughter and I, we went through her stuff to see what triggered it, what motivated it. And then we saw in her journals, in her writings, even proof that she was ill, that she had been cutting herself. There was a blade there that was stuck in, and some of her blood. And then there were drawings, figures of her, of what she thought was wrong with her. She thought she had ADHD, and that she was rebelling against medication, and may figure siya, and then that is equal to parents' anger, unexplainable moods, binge eating, and headaches, yung mga ganon. She was resisting. As far as she was concerned, she didn't want to be medicated, so she didn't want to tell anyone about it. After that, I looked for support by way of online support. There were groups who approached me, like the INA Foundation, which is a group of mothers whose children have passed on, but they meet and they give strength to each other. But somehow I couldn't join public groups like that. So I researched online, and I was able to find this Our Side of Suicide, Survivors of Suicide. It's a blog that is maintained by 3 Americans whose father specifically committed suicide. and they had contributors. And reading through that, I was able to come across the concept of psychological autopsy. Another parent who was also blindsided because her daughter was going to college, and on that particular day just said, I'm just going out for a drive, and she drove off a cliff and took her life. And she found samples of these writings also in her room and brought it to a psychiatrist, and that's what we did. Prior to that, when I was thinking about the whole experience, I would, one time, even during the wake of Julia, I woke up with this thought that it has to be public. I have to make it public. But I didn't act on it at all because it's so painful to talk about. So I didn't do anything. But we wanted to find out what happened. So we brought for autopsy, and the doctor said that she had borderline personality disorder. Julia's journals revealed that she had been thinking about it, and she had tried to do it more than once. And as early as age 12, she has a drawing of a girl hanging. Only in hindsight, as we look back at her actions, did we realize that some of these behaviors were already symptoms, but we didn't know. Like a very simple thing, there were times that she didn't want to go to school because she had a bomb stomach and she would retch a lot. And we thought she was just playing truant. She didn't want to go to school. But apparently that was already a sign of her anxiety, because her anxiety was making her acidic. Her stomach was always giving her problems, so that she always had headaches because she couldn't go to sleep early. Stuff like that. Like she had cuts. We thought it was an accident. That's what she said. Nonie kept bugging her about it. Didn't want to believe her, but she said, why don't you believe me? I'm telling the truth. Yun pala, yun. We learned.
Meron na pala siyang mga, yung mga may nakita ko mga marks, mga scars na regular. And then I said, ano yun? Are you cutting yourself? So she refused to admit. Nagalit pa sa akin. Sabi niya, ano yan? Kasi from playing, ganyan. Oh, okay. Tapos, as I was telling you, sometimes, we get too tired. Or, yun ang sa mga regrets ko, guilt ko sa sarili ko. Dahil sa sobrang pagod ko siguro, ganyan. Bakit hindi ko pinursulo? Kaya parang, sige. And also, I took it as, hindi namin parang, it's so out of the possibility. So parang sinabi yan, ganito, di ganito. Okay, so yun, tinanggap namin yung reason niya.
It's not like now where mental illness is kind of almost common. Can I say that? Because of the succession of celebrities taking their lives, it has become a trending topic. But then, it was unbelievable to think, but it's impossible to consider your child as having a mental condition if you see that they're happy. Julia was moody, but she's a teenager. She had so many friends. My concept of someone who's depressive is someone who's always sad, who isolates themselves and cries a lot. She wasn't like that at all.
Every weekend, meron siyang yung cosplay, papahatid sa SM Mega Mall, very active social life. Yeah.
And then those paintings that she made, which she put on Instagram and people were reacting about, they were characters in anime. Dark characters, yes, but they were characters. So we didn't think that it was showing how she felt. Although, of course, in hindsight, again, when you look, and then when we look through her journals, it was all there. And the sad thing is that her journals were just there. We could have easily opened one. Except that in our family, when they were still young, and I was encouraging them to write, there to be a rule because the brothers were opening their journals, nag-aaway-aaway sila, so there was a rule na nobody can open the journal of anyone unless they ask for permission, diba? We sort of follow that too. But now when I talk to parents, I tell them, open their journals when they're not around. So they never know naman. Kasi ultimately, you really, especially now, at a very young age, they have their own group of friends, they go online, you don't really know what they're talking about on their email, you don't know the social media that they're having. So, diba, pry if you have to. If they won't tell you, the teenagers, they isolate.
Keep a lot of
They are not
secrets.
isolate, but yeah, they it's normal. They have to find their own identity, so they push you away as a parent. Right? So the whole thing, that's just the start. So 3 years later, so because of that voice and because of the autopsy and because I think to a certain degree we try to understand and accept why this happened to us. I think because we're actors, we're able to open our wounds and talk about it and close it again without having to go to a psychiatrist too. That we're able to talk about it. So we thought, since we were shocked by the fact that it was common, that there were many people who approached us after telling us that their daughter, their son, I am tita, me too, tita. And everyone's scared to talk about it. Everyone is scared to be judged. So we said, it has to be an advocacy. We felt that we had to talk about it because we have to start talking and making sure that the symptoms are available, can be seen by parents, that they would be able to know na parang, kala ko nagdadrama lang, hindi, symptom pala ito ng mental illness.
So in that sense, now that you're more familiar with the symptoms, which also tell us how was that process like? What were the was the time during that time? How did it affect what were the events that
You mean after her death?
yeah, what was the dynamic like? Because I'm pretty sure it's not the easiest
In a
thing to.
For me, I cannot really speak much for them as much as maybe as much as I can observe. Medyo weird lang ako sa dalawang boys. Because they're the ones who were who found her, and they were the ones who took her out and released her from being hanged and brought her to the hospital and went through the whole experience. But we both had this feeling that they were so parang taking care of us during the wake and even up to now. Parang they're kinda, and then even sabi ko, bakit mo pa din Kigorio? Bakit mo pa dinala kayo, nagpanik kayo sa ospital? Kasi dinala nyo, wala na pala, patay na yun. Ay, kasi takot kami yan, baka magagalit ka sa amin. Parang it's all concern was towards us. And they make so many jokes about Julia and everything. And because before she died, she ate, they were angry with her because she ate ang aming dish for that day was barbecue. And she ate 10 pieces.
More. She only left 3 pieces.
She only left more than 10 pieces. Tatlong piraso ng barbecue. Niya. So nagalit yung mga boys. Kasi bakit tiniran mo kami ng tatlong ganyan? So, and up to now, we're still joking about that. Na inubusan siya, tapos yung pag merong barbecue, okay, maghahanda ng barbecue, ha? It very morbid, no? They make jokes about it. But then, sometimes I ask them every now and then, occasionally, how are you? I don't know if they still have it. Maybe I'll ask you again. May dreams, meron silang nightmares about it. They're just very careful not to bother us. Yeah. I feel like, si Jose also has that trauma. Pero ang ano nila is talagang, sila pa yung nagjo-joke about their sister, and then yung things that she is doing, yung kinukwento pa nila yung sister nila dati na tinatago yung Yakult. Bibili ko sila ng Yakult, and then she'd hide about 4 in the ref, and she'd keep it to herself, and so ba't naubos na yung Yakult? It's all jokes about their younger sister, which was the way it was in between older brothers and the younger sister. Yeah. So, pero mainly, ang naiintindihan ko is there are nightmares. In terms of family, there is fear on my part sometimes when I'm away for a long time and I'm worried what's happening at home. Even up to now, medyo meron akong sometimes anxiety as to where is Jose, where is Gorio, what's happening with Gorio, how is he. But there's this extra worry. Not as much anymore, but it was really terrible during the first year or second year. May ganun ako. So there is ano ba yung term ng PTSD? I don't know. But I never went to a psychiatrist after that. We went to a psychologist who saw all 6 of us. And she gave us session ng parang going around, talking, interviewing us, and analyzing our experiences. And so more or less, na-assess niya kung nasa ang state kami.
The experience obviously brought the family closer
together.
Because especially during the first few weeks, few days, we only felt secure when the whole family was complete.
Palaging kami yung kasama.
Somehow you feel that when one is out, you feel scared, yeah. And we really looked for a grief therapist. And the nice thing about it is that the grief therapist only after one session said that you seem to be approaching it in a very healthy way. You're talking about her. You're talking about the experience. Your children are very...
Even the boys, your boys are okay.
Yeah, they are very open and they're not scared about the whole experience. They can really talk about it. And then again, when we brought them to the psychologist after the psychologist went through the works of Julia, she also asked for a session with the family. And so we went and she made us draw stuff and all that. And there are some members of the family who are more affected, who have to be, monitored. But overall, okay naman. Although our children are not that involved with the advocacy, because we don't really want to
force them,
only if they want to join, because it takes a lot.
It takes a lot. So, naintindihan namin yun. Although, we don't really hear the exact reason from them why they don't want to join. Pero sa ngayon, parang maybe someday they will join us. Pero siya naman talaga yung leader niya. Tapos I just follow and make her, make it possible for her.
But they help out. They help out sa computer. So like if I need some music or I need them to come to attend it, they attend naman. Hindi naman yung totally, that's why I think that's why the doctor said that they're healthy about their approach to the incident.
So is this the by advocating for it? Is this would you say one way also how you cope with?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, because we realize also that people see it in the same way I saw it. I had a friend before who took his life. I was very angry with my friend. And I was saying, how selfish. You're thinking of yourself. And that's another opinion. Both different sides yun. Pero pag yung sarili mo na palang anak, tapos you try to understand what she had been going through, and then you try to understand a little more. I cannot say we are experts about illness or mental health or but more or less we are able to take a look into the suffering that she went through and how she was not in control when that particular incident happened, when she took her life. Although it's very deliberate and that she was also planning it, it's very deep-seated. So, para sa akin, sa amin, it's also to help people who are going through this difficulty, and also for in our own way maybe help people who have medyo makitid pa yung pagtingin nila dun sa ating sakit. Kasi ang sakit siya. The fact na yun ang pagkakaintindi namin, intindi ko especially, is that the fact that you are hurting yourself, yung self-harm, kahit na yung mga teenagers na self, the fact that you're doing that, it's already a sign of illness. Lalaki lang yan ang lalaki. Siyempre, meron kang mga problema sa buhay, meron kang mga triggers, meron. Pero yung state mo nandun na, it's how you see your problems. It's how you perceive your world, di ba? And it's also because of the state, your state of mind. So, maraming schools of thought regarding that. But I just want with this, for people to understand that there is such a thing as mental illness, mental health, but it can be treated. And it can be treated, and people can live normally. And people can even pursue careers if it is maintained and treated. And they can even excel. O kung ma-maintain siya. Hindi niya kailangang umabot doon sa parang nag-cave in yung world mo. So, kailangan matutunan na suportahan ito mga who have that tendency for suicide.
It's very good that this is your topic, because most of those who suffer want to be helped. They want to get well, but they're trapped. They can't talk about it, or they're scared to talk about it. And when they talk about it, when they do tell a parent or a partner, the parents or the partner, they don't know how to deal with it. It's a very difficult illness. A lot of times people think gawa-gawa lang, or parang why can't you just think your way out of it? Why can't you just decide, like we, normal people, we decide, okay, I'm sad, I want to be happy now. I will do things to make me happy, diba? But they cannot even sometimes get themselves out of the bed. How much more change their thought about how they feel?
I'm also guilty of being angry not only with my friend, but with my daughter. And for a while I was angry. Why did you do that? Why did you destroy your own life? Parang from my point of view, she was getting into a better life. It's very hard to understand that. But as we go along, and as I also, there's so many articles that we're able to read and get into, and every now and then I look into those her journals. It's all there, see na travel at there, dami mga makikita kong ganun, hindi niya like others, hindi nila kontrolado. Ang sa kanila lang, hindi nila iniisip yung mapag-iiwanan nila. Iniisip na nila kung paano natapusin itong paghihirap. Oo. Na hindi nararanasan ng iba na walang sakit. Yeah. Diba? So may sakit sila, siguro yung iba wala, sila may sakit. Kami baka meron, kasi sabi rin ng psychiatrist, sabi ng psychologist, na ipapasa daw yan.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So, sabi sa amin psychologist, look into your family tree and try to see who among you are going through it, so that it can be addressed.
I gathered from everything that you shared that this has been quite a journey.
Ang dami.
For the family.
In fact, she's going to take a workshop in drama therapy to learn more about it.
So we have a Buencamino project, and one of the project is the bench. We bring a bench to schools as a device to talk about mental health and to encourage children to um, not to be scared and to ask help from, especially help from an adult, because especially at the young age of 10, kasi it can start as early as 9 to 13, 14, 15, because of the way they are being developed. I mean, they're developing themselves, trying to be independent and all that. They tell each other, which Julia did. She told her friends about it, but it needs an adult there. An adult has to intervene, a parent, a guidance counselor, a teacher. One of my regrets is that as a mother, this is one of my the repercussions of suicide in the family, which we were also asking about a while ago, is the guilt. It boomerangs. It goes, it comes back, it goes, it comes back, because of all your memories with the one who's left. And one of that is that, why wasn't I a parent that my child could have easily told these things? Why did she keep those things from me? And I was also parang, a lot of our friends, even our relatives na mga pamangkin, even friends, they came to us and said, and they messaged us telling us na my parent didn't know everything that was happening to me, and I kept most of my stuff from her, or from, parang ganun, parang at that age daw normal lang. So yun ang ano namin, one of our simplest advocacy is to convince the children to tell an adult, tell a parent, tell the guidance counselor, because it's not their fault. Because those who suffer, apparently, those who suffer this anxiety or bipolar disorder or depression, they think it's their fault. They think they're not good enough. So it's not easy for
They're
them
weak.
to tell.
Thank you for saying freely what you wanted to say. This has been quite a journey for the family. Apart from the advocacy that you are involved in, are there other ways how you feel you're picking up the pieces after Julia's passing?
We're picking up the pieces. We're talking about it. Our advocacy is one. One of the things that I have to deal with is my anger. I'm more. I've burst now, but I'm more aware of it. Sometimes it's easier to be angry than to be hurting. Acceptance, I guess. One of the very first things I did to really pick up, to do something about what I was feeling, was I attended a retreat. I immediately scheduled myself for a retreat. And in the retreat, para akong sinigawan ng Diyos. Sabi niya, it's my will, not yours, that will be followed. And I gave you this child, and I will take her because she's mine, and it's not your decision. And with that, parang I was able to forgive myself. And I had to go to that retreat because I couldn't hear him. I kept questioning him. I couldn't hear him. So, yun. That was one of the best things that I was able to do for myself, to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, I just basically have to have a schedule. And the way I can find myself. I'm not like Charmaine, who's able to dwell into it, analyze it, and meet it head on, the experience, go through it. It's very difficult for me to go through the journals and diaries, but I still do, not as thoroughly as she does. I need to have a schedule. I have canines, I have dogs, they're my babies right now. What is the change in me? Because I lost my daughter, I noticed at work, I become in a way attached to, if there is a young actress a young actress on the set, a teenager most of the time. And somehow they also I feel, I don't know if they feel that, but I feel that they somehow gravitate towards me in terms of, siguro kasi parang I'm more open to having discussions with them or listening more. Parang siguro yung mga things that I regret doing, I like to relate to younger people more. I'm more interested in them, yung mga ganon sa trabaho. But I guess, I don't know if it's a man thing or what, but it's very hard to be, I don't know, what do you call this? To be just sitting and then thinking about it. And it's hard. It's very hard. So parang I just try to keep moving and just doing things throughout the day. Yeah.
Before we close into the last question, we talked about that part in this. We just want to just ask you, what is your best memory of KBBC?
Buya is such a special girl. She is such a treasure. My child, that girl is so talagang gift.
Daddy's girl.
Super gift talaga si Buya. From birth, pinanganak siya pang-apat, matanda na si Shamin. Sabi ko,
Ako lang matanda.
34. For a mother to give birth. Tanda na si Shamin for a mother to give birth. There's 34, 35. Medyo meron na kaming worries. Ay, naku, may isa pa. Pero naman, binigay ng Diyos, regalo talaga. She was like a doll. She was pretty. And she's a bundle of sentimentality and emotions. You know, you're our neighbor. I'm sure you did talk to her for a long time, but maybe you could see that she emanates that. She likes to go to neighbors. She likes to relate to others. Dad, I have a friend, a new friend. All these friends are important to her. So there are just so many wonderful memories. But one wonderful memory was, I always talk about this to others, when she surprised us with the performance during yung workshop niya. She played the lead role in Hairspray sa workshop ng trumpets.
Tracy, she played
Tracy. Yung trumpets. And then, I could hear her practice voice kasi we had the same voice teacher during that time. So, naririnig ko yun. Nang nire-rehearse nila yung song. Pero wala yung interpretation. Wala yung acting. Then, she didn't really ask me, because she would ask me to coach her for mga contests, yung mga declamation, monologues, ganyan. This one, she didn't ask. So, we were, ano kaya ginawa niyo dito? Then we watched the show, and she was like a star when she performed, at least from my eyes, no? Our eyes. I guess we agree. Even, Audie Moro was there. In other words, she was really wonderful with her performance there. She shone, and then she was acting her song. She was doing some ad-libs, and then she was doing some spontaneous things on stage, as if she was a professional or a trooper at that age. 14 ba siya? Yeah, 14. So I was shouting, and I was, wow, parang we didn't coach her, we didn't teach her, and I was just so very proud. Sabi ko, ay, kung magiging ano ko, this girl will be better than us, than Shamin.
She's very talented.
She's very talented as an actress. Singer, pwede pang mag-improve. Pero as an actress, talagang she's got that it thing. And sabi ng Diyos, hanggang ganda na lang at meron sigurong dahilan.
And she could also write well.
She writes well.
She left us with poems which we used
Beautiful
for the
poems.
album.
Such a pain to live this life. But we have to do it to help others also. And maybe kung sino man yung makapanood dito, it can be can help others avoid it and be more attentive to their children or younger people in their family.
One of the things that I remember about Julia is that she could talk and talk, and she was always excited about something that happened in school or ganyan, and she'd talk about it lengthily to the point na ikaw parang gusto na siyang matapos kasi you want to like read your Facebook messages or whatever. One of the things that I miss most about Julia is hear her laughing. She had this big laughter na she throws her head back and laughs na malaking hug. And she also likes to give you tight hugs. I guess it's like a family who has lost a child to cancer or to diabetes. I mean, some people are born with a weak heart, some people are born with a weak brain or a broken brain. It's just that we have to accept that it is not an illness that we have to be embarrassed about.
Yeah, it's not their
And
fault.
it's not their fault. It's nobody's fault.
Daming opinions ngayon kasi di ba yung mga famous people yun and ganyan. But, it's not their fault. And so, sana yung totoo yan, yung mental health bill na sign. I hope it helps people because it's so expensive to have a psychiatrist. The medicines are so expensive. Pang first world siya eh. Paano na lang yung mga naghihirap? Di ba? It's something that needs to be addressed now, especially when we are aware when there's starting this to be done.
Thank you for sharing all of this. Maybe as a closer final question, something that takeaways or insights from the entire experience that you can share with other parents out there who may be going through what you did, what you went through the past years, or the years past.
I try to be a bit more positive. Instead of making a judgment that your child is just acting up or doing a bit of a teleserye or drama, consider that there is an illness going on, or at least pry and look more and observe the child more. You know, I can't really say that we didn't pay attention to our children because we did, but it's just that we never really considered that our child would have that kind of an illness. You can pay all the attention that you want, send them to great schools and bring them to Kumon and even let them see a counselor or what, but if you never really consider that there is something going on, if your child has a problem in school, you know, there are signs. When we went to this seminar, we were invited to do a testimony. They have listed signs that will say that if your child is depressed. And it helps if they're able to know those signs. Merong listahan. And if every parent knows that, I think, and your child is exhibiting those symptoms, then look into depression. Look into it, because it can not be totally cured, but it can be maintained, and you can avoid a fatal effect.
What you need to do, stop whatever you're doing, go online. Read up on it, read up on the symptoms, the signals, the signs, and then look at your child and observe your child intently. Observe her, observe him. You don't even have to ask
The child.
just observe.
You probably
For
lie.
a length of time, study the child, because a lot of times, if you ask, they might say that nothing's wrong, or they might deny it, like Kuya did. Just observe, and then and give them the time. Put down your gadgets and give your child your full attention, so that you might be able to help them. But above all that, it is an illness. You might be given a chance to help them. You might not be able to be given the chance to help them. It's not your fault. It is an illness, like what we've been saying. We hold their forehead if they're sick, if they have a fever, you give them the medicine, right? For this particular illness, I think it is one of the most dangerous and one of the most difficult, because it hides, and the stigma doesn't help. So, but the positive thing that we can share with you is that we don't really hold the lives of our children. We don't know how much time we have with them. So treasure them. There's collateral beauty in experiencing death, like the film. You realize that your life here is a gift, and your children, they're a gift. They're not yours. They can be taken away from you anytime. So with the children that you have, treasure them, and be with them, and be with them as much as you can, because life on earth is so short.
So with that, thank you so much for sharing all your insights. I really believe that people will have valuable takeaways from listening to what you shared, my friends. And we just wish you the best in as you continue this journey of healing. And as what one of us said earlier, and I just like to reinforce that we're with you in your advocacy. And that's why we're also doing this. This is also to be because it's something that has to be done together.
Yes.
And we're with you. Is there a site that they can go to? Or?
Oh, yeah. We actually have a Facebook page. There's the Buencamino project on FB for more information, and for videos that you can use, you can watch about mental health.